Hello friends, welcomes you all. Myself Dr. Deepak, and today we are going to discuss about the male urethra. So the male urethra, it is about 18 to 20 centimeter long and it extends from the internal urethral orifice, which is opens into the urinary bladder, to the external urethral meatus or opening, which is present on the glans penis. So it is extend from the neck of the urinary bladder to here at the anterior end of the glans penis. Here at the neck of the urinary bladder, there is a internal urethral orifice which is guarded by the internal urethral sphincter, and here on the glans penis it is opens into a external meatus. Okay, so the male urethra has a two different parts. Is posterior part, it is known as the posterior urethra. It is a shorter and it is 4 centimeter long. And is anterior urethra, means anterior urethral part, it is about the 16 millimeter long. Okay, so its posterior part, it is actually lies above this perineal membrane. Okay, above this perineal membrane, this part of the urethra, it is a posterior part. Okay, and below the perineal membrane, it is a anterior urethra or the anterior urethral parts. Okay, so the posterior urethra, it has a three different parts: the pre-prostatic part, then the part within the prostate, means the prostatic part, and the membranous part. Okay, so here you can see this area which is lies within this neck of the urinary bladder, it is a pre-prostatic part. Okay, then in the prostatic urethra. Okay, and then below the prostatic urethra, here above the perineal membrane, this small area, it is known as a membranous part. Okay, then anterior urethral part, means below this perineal membrane. So here the part within this bulb of the penis. Okay, here, so in the bulb of the penis, this small part of the urethra, it is known as a bulbar urethra, and the part within this carpus spongiosum of the penis, this all the structure, it is known as a penile urethra. Okay, so the urethra can be divided in these all parts: the posterior urethra and the anterior urethra. Posterior urethra part superior to this perineal membrane. Okay, and the part below the perineal membrane or after the perineal membrane, it is a anterior urethra. So this posterior urethra, it is 4 centimeter long, anterior urethra, it is about 16 centimeter long. Then posterior urethra has a three parts: the pre-prostatic part, the prostatic part, and the membranous part. And the anterior urethra, it has a bulbar urethra and the penile urethra, these two different parts. Okay, so the pre-prostatic part, it is about 1 to 1.5 centimeter long. The prostatic part, it is about 3 to 4 centimeter long. The membranous part, it is about 1.5 centimeter long. Then the bulbar part, it is a small distinct part. Then the penile urethral part. Okay, so these both are combinedly about the 16 centimeter long. Okay, then the shape of the urethral orifice in these different parts. Okay, the urethral pathway has a different shape in the different areas. In the pre-prostatic part, it is a stellate shape. Then in the membranous part also, it is a stellate shape, means it is like a star shaped. Okay, it is like that. Okay, then in the prostatic part, it is a crescentric shape, means here it is a crescentric shape, the half moon shape like. Okay, the crescentric shape in the prostate. Okay, in the bulbar urethra, in the bulbar part, it is a transverse shaped. Transverse shape means the urethral opening is like that. Okay, and in the penile urethra, it is a like that, longitudinal or the vertical like slit like part. Okay, so this is the different shape of the urethra in the different parts. So in the prostatic part it is a stellate shape, in the membranous part also it is a stellate shape, then the in the pre-prostatic and the membranous it is a stellate shape, in the prostatic it is a crescentric shape, bulbar in the transverse slit-like, and in the penile urethra it is a vertical slit-like, okay, the opening of the urethra. So this different shape of this urethral pathway, due to this shape, the urine it is runs in a continuous stream into the urethra, okay, and they are also participating for the pressure in the urethra. So the urine is passing through the pressure in the urethra. So when the urine is out from the penis, so stream it is goes beyond the body of the person, okay, because it is runs in pressure in the urethra, okay. So this is all about its parts. Now we will see all the parts distinctly. So first of all, the posterior urethra. So in the posterior urethra, the first part it is a pre-prostatic part. So this pre-prostatic part it is lies within the neck of the urinary bladder. Means these area, the initial segment of this prostate, the urethra, it lies in the neck of the urinary bladder. This area it is known as a pre-prostatic part. It is about 1 to 1.5 centimeter long, and it opens into the prostatic urethra here at the verumontanum. We will see what is the verumontanum, okay, at the verumontanum of the prostatic urethra, okay. So this area here in the pre-prostatic part, there is a proximal or the internal urethral sphincter. The internal urethral sphincter, or we can say the proximal urethral sphincter, it is lies within this pre-prostatic part, okay. So how this sphincter it is formed? So the proximal urethral sphincter, there are the two sphincters, one is the proximal and one is the distal. The proximal urethral sphincter it is lies at here in the pre-prostatic part, whereas the distal urethral sphincter it is lies into the membranous urethral part. So the proximal urethral sphincter, so the smooth muscle arranged in the circular collar. The proximal urethral sphincter it is formed by the smooth muscle fiber, okay. Actually when we see the urethra, in the urethra the innermost layer it is a mucous membrane, okay. Then after the mucous membrane there is a smooth muscle fibers. Smooth muscle fibers, they are also arranged in a two layers, the circular and the longitudinal layer, okay. So this is a smooth muscle fiber of the urethra, and on the most outer side there is a tunica adventitia, okay. On the most outer side there is a tunica adventitia is here. So this is a structure of the ureters. We have seen the structure of the ureters. So the same structure is like the urethra has also presence. In the urethra also there is a presence of the mucous membrane and the muscle fibers. So here this smooth muscle fiber, rather than this smooth muscle fiber, there is also present a extra layer of the smooth muscle fiber here in this pre-prostatic part, and this muscular layer it is formed the proximal urethral sphincter, okay. So the proximal urethral sphincter it is formed by the smooth muscle fibers. These muscle fibers are arranged in a circular collar like, okay. Then has its own distinct adrenergic innervation. These muscle fibers has their own distinct adrenergic innervation, okay, means the sympathetic innervation is present there. Then they are almost totally devoid of the parasympathetic cholinergic nerves, okay. They haven't any cholinergic, the parasympathetic nerves. Then the muscles have relatively larger connective tissue components rich in the elastic fibers. This muscle fiber, in between this muscle fiber there is a connective tissue. This connective tissue it is formed by these elastic fibers, okay. Then they prevent the retrograde flow of the ejaculate, okay. Here in the males we have seen that here in this prostate behind the prostate, when we have discussed the prostate, okay, on the posterior side of the prostate, okay, this is the posterior side of the prostate. So on the posterior side of the prostate, on its posterior relation, we have seen that there is a seminal vesicles. The duct of the seminal vesicles are open here and they are forming the ejaculatory ducts, okay, and this ejaculatory duct, it is passing from this prostate. The prostatic glands are also participating in the ejaculate, okay, the secretion of this prostate. So here the ejaculate, the semen, it is actually formed here, okay. The prostate gland, the secretion of prostate gland, the secretion of the seminal vesicles, and the sperm and all this mixture are combinedly form the semen here. So the semen actually, it is also run in this urethra. In the males, we have we know that there is a common pathway for the urine and for the ejaculate for the semen, okay. So here the prostatic glands are open and these ejaculatory ducts are also open here into this urethra, in the prostatic urethra, okay. So if there isn't any sphincter mechanism here at this level, so this ejaculate may be retrograde into this urinary bladder, okay. But here is a sphincter, the proximal urethral sphincter, which prevent the retrograde flow of the ejaculate into the urinary bladder, okay. But due to some reason, if this sphincter is destroyed, okay, it can be destroyed due to the surgical procedure of the neck of the urinary bladder, or it may also be ruptured due to the transurethral resectioning of the prostate. If you are doing the resectioning of the prostate through this urethra, so there may be a chance of the rupture of this proximal urethral sphincter, and when this sphincter it is ruptured, then there is a retrograde flow of the semen into the urinary bladder in this type of the patient, okay. But when the sphincter it is present and it is functional, so it prevents the retrograde flow of the ejaculate into the urinary bladder. Then it is absent in the females, okay. There is no need for this type of sphincter here in the females, okay, because they have a distinct pathway for the urine and for the menstrual flow and all that, okay. So there isn't need of this type of the sphincter in the females, so it is not present in the females. Then it is about the pre-prostatic part of the urethra. Then the prostatic part of the urethra. So this prostatic part of the urethra, it is about 3 to 4 centimeter long, okay. So it is lies within the prostate, so it is continuation of the pre-prostatic part. The pre-prostatic part in down runs vertically downward and it is enter into the prostate. If we see a cut section of the prostate, so in the prostate, the prostatic urethra, it is runs along its anterior border, okay. It is not on its posterior side, it is runs along its anterior border and forms a 35-degree angle with its long axis, okay, and forming a 35-degree angle of its long axis. So this urethra, it is runs like that vertically downward, okay, and opens at the apex of the prostate and continue as a membranous urethra, okay. So if we see this area, the prostatic urethra in a larger section, so here I have drawn this larger section of this prostatic urethra, okay, for the better understanding. So the outer margin, the green margin, it is a urethra. So within this prostatic urethra, which structures are present? So in the center part of this prostatic urethra, there is a elevation, okay, slit like elevation, and this elevated area, it is known as a urethral crest, okay. What? It is known as a urethral crest. So this blue margin, it is a urethral crest, okay. It is a elevated area. So if we see a cut section of from here, from this urethra, so in the urethral orifice on its posterior border, there is a elevation like that. Okay, so this elevation, it is known as a urethral crest, and due to this urethral crest, this lumen of the urethra, it is like a concentric shape. Okay, like a concentric shape due to the presence of the urethral crest on the posterior surface. So on the posterior surface there is a longitudinal vertical elevation, and it is a urethral crest. Okay, at the center part of the urethral crest, there is other elevated area, and this elevated area, it is known as a here the verumontanum. What? Verumontanum. So what is the verumontanum? So verumontanum, it is a elevated area within the urethral crest. It is a urethral crest, and in the central part of the urethral crest there is a elevated area, and this elevated area, it is a verumontanum. Okay, so why here is a elevated area? Because in the verumontanum, in its central part, there is a slit like opening of the prostatic utricles. Okay, the prostatic utricles are open into the verumontanum in a slit like opening. Okay, what is the prostatic utricle? We will see just after that. So you must have to understand that first there is a prostatic urethra. In the prostatic urethra, in its posterior surface, in its central part, there is a longitudinal vertical elevation, and it is a urethral crest. Okay, on this urethral crest, in its central part, there is a one other elevated area, it is known as the verumontanum. In the verumontanum, there is a slit like opening of the prostatic utricles, and on the both side of this opening of prostatic utricles, there are two other distinct openings, and these openings are for the ejaculatory ducts. Okay, we have already discussed what is the ejaculatory duct. The ejaculatory duct are here formed by this seminal ducts and the duct of the seminal vesicle. Okay, so these ejaculatory ducts are open into this verumontanum on both lateral side of the opening of the prostatic utricles. Then outside this urethral crest, there are two longitudinal prostatic sinuses are present. Okay, on both sides of the urethral crest there are the sinus present on both the sides. These are the prostatic sinuses. Why these sinuses are present here? Because in this prostatic sinus there is an opening of the prostatic ducts. The prostatic ducts are opens into this prostatic sinus. Okay, so it seems like it is a little bit difficult, but so I will make it easy for you. So here I will draw it, so it will be easy for you in a distinct diagram. So first of all, okay, so what is this structure? It is a prostatic urethra. On the posterior part of this prostatic urethra, there is a elevated structure. This structure, elevated structure, it is known as a urethral crest. What? This is known as a urethral crest. Okay, in this urethral crest, in its central part, there is a different elevation, and this elevation, it is known as a verumontanum. What? It is known as a verumontanum. In this verumontanum, in its central part, there is a slit like opening. This opening, it is of the prostatic utricles. Okay, so this is the opening of the prostatic utricles. Then on both the side of this prostatic utricles, there are the opening of the ejaculatory ducts. What? The ejaculatory ducts are opens here. Then on both the lateral side of this urethral crest, there is a sinus, prostatic sinus, and in this prostatic sinus there is a opening of the prostatic glands. What? there is a opening of the prostatic glands. So if we do the nomenclature, so what is that? So it is a prostatic urethra. Okay, then what is that? So it is a urethral crest. Okay, urethral crest. Then in this urethral crest, what is this? It is a verumontanum. Okay, in this verumontanum there is a opening of prostatic utricles. On both lateral side of this prostatic utricles there is a opening of ejaculatory ducts. Okay, then outside this urethral crest there is a what? It is a prostatic sinus, and in this prostatic sinus there is a opening of prostatic glands. Okay, so now it will be easy for you. Okay, then what is the prostatic utricles? Okay, we have seen that here there is a opening of the prostatic utricles. So what is the prostatic utricles? So if we draw the prostate like that, it means it is like that. It is a prostate. Okay, and within the prostate I have drawn that here it is a what? Urethra. What? Prostatic urethra. So here on its posterior surface there is a opening of prostatic utricles. So what is the prostatic utricles? Prostatic utricles, it is a blind shake which is present into the median, posterior to the median lobe of the prostate. Behind the median lobe of the prostate there is a blind shake, and this blind shake, it is known as a prostatic utricles. But what is the function of this blind shake? Why it is present here in the prostate? So this blind shake, the prostatic utricles, it is a resemble with the vagina of the females. Okay, and it is also known as a masculine vagina. Okay, so this prostatic utricles, it is a homologous with the vagina of the female, and it is also known as a masculine vaginalis. Okay, or masculine vagina. Okay, so it is a homologous part of the vagina in the females. As we know, the prostate, it is only a male organ, it is not present in the females, and the vagina, it is a female organ, it is not present in the males. Okay, so it is a developmental changes occurs in the males and the females. So this structure, the prostatic utricles, it is resemble with the vagina of the female, and it is opens here into the verumontanum, in the central part of the verumontanum, in a slit like opening. Okay, so it is about the 6 mm long. Okay, you only have to know its length. The prostatic utricles, it is about 6 mm long, and it is opens into here in the prostatic urethra. Okay, now the membranous part of the urethra. So the membranous urethra, it is a continuation of the prostatic urethra, and it is about the 1.5 cm long, and it is a stellate in the cut section, and it is continue behind with the this bulbous part of the urethra, the bulbar urethra. Okay, it crosses this perineal membrane, then its name is changed into the bulbar urethra. So here the structure of this membranous urethra, it is represented by the distal urethral sphincter mechanism. Okay, so this distal urethral sphincter, it is formed by the striated muscle fibers, the rhabdo sphincter, and they are arranged in a circular manner. So we have seen that in the urethra there is innermost side, there is a mucous membrane, then the muscular coat, there is a smooth muscle fiber are present here, and in the proximal urethral sphincter, there is an extra layer of the smooth muscle fiber which is goes for the sphincter mechanism. So here in the distal urethral sphincter, rather than this smooth muscle fiber, there are one extra layer on the outer side of the striated muscle fiber, and which are act as a distal urethral sphincter. So this striated muscle fibers layer outside the smooth muscle fiber layer of the urethra, they are responsible for the sphincter mechanism in the distal urethral part. Okay, so the striated muscle fiber, they are also known as a rhabdo fibers or the rhabdosphincter. They are, this is here in the sphincter, it is a point of the highest in transurethral pressure. The transurethral pressure, it is highest at this level. The slow twitch fibers of sphincter are capable of sustained contraction over the long period of time. What is the meaning of the slow twitch fibers? Means here this striated muscle fiber have a very short lumens. Okay, this striated muscle fibers, this diameter of these fibers, they are arranged in a circular manner. So this diameter, it is a very short, okay, like that. So this short diameter, due to this short diameter, the short fibers, they are capable for the contraction for a long period of time. Okay, so they can retain the urine for a longer period. Okay, then the components of the distal urethral sphincter mechanism. The distal urethral sphincter mechanism, it is formed by the three different types of the structures. Okay, first components of this mechanism, it is a urethral smooth muscles. Okay, we have already discussed that in the urethra there is a smooth muscle fiber are already present, and these urethral smooth muscle are also participating in this mechanism. Then the second, it is a urethral striated muscle. Okay, we have discussed that there is an extra layer of the striated muscle in this part of the urethra, and these striated muscles, the rhabdo fibers, are the second component of this distal sphincter mechanism. And the third one, it is a pubourethral part of the levator ani muscle. The levator ani muscle, so here the levator ani muscle, the fibers of the levator ani muscles are also attached with this urethral part, and they are also participating in the urethral sphincter mechanism. Okay, so the pubourethral part of the levator ani muscle, they are important to resist the surge of the intra-abdominal pressure. Means there is, when there is a increase in intra-abdominal pressure, when we are doing the coughing or the vomiting at this time. Okay, at this time, due to the reflex, the levator ani muscles are get contracted, and this contraction of this levator ani muscle are helped to close this urethral sphincter, so they can retain the urination. Okay, so they are important to resist the surge of the intra-abdominal pressure. So if these muscle fibers are not present or they are not working properly, so there is, in the coughing or in the increased intra-abdominal conditions, there may be the urine discharge from the penis. Okay, so it is resist for this type of the mechanism. So here this pubourethral part of the levator ani muscle, it is also a component of the distal urethral sphincter mechanism. Okay, now the anterior urethral part. Okay, so in the anterior urethral part, it is started below from this perineal membrane, after the perineal membrane. So it is the initial part here present into the bulb of the penis. Okay, the initial segment of the penis, it is the bulb of the penis, so it is present into the bulb of the penis, that's why it is known as a bulbar urethral part. So it is a transverse in the section. Okay, and it is continuous downward within this penis as a penile urethra. So the penile urethra, it lies within the corpus spongiosum of the penis. The penile urethra, it is started from here at the bulbar urethral part and opens at the external meatus at the glans penis. Okay, many urethral glands are also present here in this part of the penile urethra, and they are open into this penile urethral part. But one opening of this gland, the urethral gland, is more larger than the other openings of the glands, and this opening, it is known as a lacuna magna. Okay, and this lacuna magna, it is present over here just superior to the navicular fossa. What is the navicular fossa? When the penile urethra it is enter into the penis, then at this area there is a one dilatation in the urethra, and this dilated part of the urethra, it is known as a navicular fossa. Okay, then after that navicular fossa, there is a external meatus or the external opening of the urethra. The external opening of the urethra, it is a smallest area of the entire urethral part. Okay, and at the external opening, this opening, it is a vertical slit like that, and it is covered by the two labium on both the sides. Okay, so on the external meatus, the external opening at the glans penis of the urethra, it is like a vertical slit, and this vertical slit, it is about the 6 mm long. Okay, it is about a 6 mm long, and it is a narrowest part of the urethra. Okay, so because of this narrowest part, there is a create a pressure. So due to the pressure, the urination may be done along the body. Okay, so it is about the 6 mm long, and it is guarded by the two labium on the both the sides. So it is about the penile part of the urethra. So in a flaccid penis condition, this is a like H-shaped. The shape of the urethra is H-shaped in the flaccid penis condition. Okay, so here it is a urinary bladder, then it is a prostatic part, it is a membranous part, in a flaccid penis condition, it is like that. Okay, so it is a H shape. There are two curves in the urethra, but in the erect penis condition, it is like a J shape. The urethra, it is turns into a J shape. Okay, so this is all about the urethra. So let me see its artery supply, the venous drainage, the nerves, and its clinical anatomy. Let me discuss about the vessels and nervous innervation of the male urethra. First of all, the arteries. So the urethral artery, it is a branch of the internal pudendal artery, and the circumflex branch of the dorsal penile artery. Both are supplying to the male urethra. Then the veins, the anterior urethral part, it is drained by the dorsal vein of penis, and the posterior urethral part, it is by the prostatic and the vesicular venous plexuses. These both the veins are finally drained into the internal iliac veins. Then lymphatics. So the prostatic urethra, it is drained by the finally drained into the internal iliac lymph nodes. Membranous urethra into the internal iliac lymph nodes, but anterior urethra, it is drained along with the glans penis into the deep inguinal lymph nodes. Then the nervous innervation. So the preprostatic sphincter, okay, it has a sympathetic and parasympathetic both the fibers. So the sympathetic fibers are the greater cavernous nerve. Sympathetic innervation is done by the greater cavernous nerve. We have discussed that it has a almost no parasympathetic innervation, but some are the fibers present, and they are from the S2 to S4 segment of the spinal cord. Okay, then the rhabdosphincter. So it is means the external urethral sphincter, the rhabdo fibers of the sphincter. Its pathway, it is not completely defined, but it is said that it is innervated by the neurons of the Onuf's nucleus, which is situated into the S2 segment of the spinal cord. Okay, and these fibers are passed via the perennial branch of the pudendal nerve. Okay, by the perennial branch of the pudendal nerve. You must have to remember this Onuf's nucleus and the perennial branch of the pudendal nerve. Then is clinical anatomy. So urethritis, okay, the infection of the urethra, it is known as a urethritis. Then the rupture of the urethra. So rupture can be done by the sharp object in the penile urethral part. Then the catheterization of the urine. So what is the catheterization? So in some clinical condition, patient can't urinate by himself. So there is a contingency of the urines. The urine is accumulated into the urinary bladder and the urethral area. So there is a need to drain this urine by the rubber tubes, and this rubber tube, it is known as a catheter, and this process, it is known as a catheterization. So one must have to remember the normal curvatures of the urethra during this catheterization process. Okay, then the stricture of the urethra. What is the stricture of the urethra? So the stricture of the urethra, it is a condition due to the infection. Due to the infection in the urethra is get strictured. Then the hypospadias. What is the hypospadias? So it is a normal, it is a common anomaly into the males. Means the urethra, it is opens on under surface of the penis, okay, or within the perineum. So this is this condition, it is known as a hypospadias. Okay, the epispadias, it is a very rare condition. In this condition, the urethra, it is open on the above surface, on the superior surface of the penis. Okay, so this is all about the clinical anatomy of the male urethra. So here there is theory, it is completed. Hope so you may understand. Thank you very much.